It is the next day. It is the afternoon, and I am still lazily up because I could not sleep with all of this celebrating last night, but it was fun. I have my little amethyst heart from that cauldron candle. It's so tiny and so cute. I probably, no, I don't have this type of amethyst, so that's really cool. So I meditated with it this morning, took my time, pulled some cards from my Tree Wisdom deck, and I've been really interested in figuring out how it operates since I talked to it about communication and why it has not worked in the past. I've noticed that it's been making an effort to make things simpler for me, but I want to talk about this because it's really interesting. A lot of people complain that they have trouble with this deck. I asked it for a card for the year, and I put this card back in. This stands for different forms of luck, like perspective on luck and abundance. And I really liked this card, and I had it out, and it immediately flung out again, like, hey, I'm not done with you. So this deck really teaches patience. It really teaches me to go with my intuition, which is really, really hard. Like, maybe you'll think I'm nuts, but I swear I looked at the guidebook like several times. And every time I look at the guidebook, I see different things in it. And it's almost like having glamour. It's like there's a glamour put on it that like you will see what you kind of need. After a while, you start seeing familiar patterns and you start memorizing the trees. So like, I'm not saying that it's all like, willy-nilly, but it almost seems that way at first, and I'm not quite sure why. There's no real reason for it. And I also feel like it gives me different intuitive responses that go outside of the guidebook. So beyond knowing the Ogham and the runes, which again, I don't feel like the Elder Futhark are that present in this deck. It almost doesn't matter. I feel like this deck more cares about whether I'm tapping into the tree. And maybe that's just for me. Maybe it customizes how it reads for each person. I don't know. If anybody has used this deck and wants to like give me some info on that or some perspective or experience, that would be great. But yeah, this card, it's so pretty. Some of the art I don't particularly like. I wish that the tree faces were a little more realistic, but like this is probably one of the few decks I wish that they were taken from actual photographs or, AI, dare I say. Yes, I said it. Because I feel like sometimes the cartoony style just kind of takes away from the magical aspect, but I know some people really like that as a lift up. So that's my feelings on this deck. So the card today that came up was Honeysuckle. This has come up several times, and this card is interesting. This card very specifically talks about magical practices and information that was passed down through scent, which I find really interesting. So like certain objects and things were put out as messages. I always thought about why things were used, but I never thought about them being used as signals like that. But it makes sense, for the non-magical, they wouldn't get it. So that, and I grew up with honeysuckle. So this card came up again, and it's definitely helping me explore themes of not having to explain myself. Like my father often demanded that I explain myself. And now that he's no longer a big factor in my life, I find that I'm being pushed to make things a lot simpler. I'm seeing patterns of when I'm actually unconsciously defending myself. And I find this interesting when it comes to YouTube because oftentimes YouTube and YouTubers kind of have that same mindset. just, as a whole, as a group, where we feel we have to explain all the ins and outs of things. And now we're slowly, I notice we're all kind of realizing, wait a minute, I don't need to do that. This is stupid. Now we're gatekeeping people that don't show exact transparency, or they're not responding in the right way, things like that. So I think it's interesting this card came up, and I just wanted to share this as a New Year reading. I'm working on my New Year vlog, and it'll be out soon, but I'm kind of meditating with this energy and deciding what I want in that vlog, because what I'm finding, and you can definitely try this if you want to and let me know how it works for you. Sometimes I will let myself go crazy on film, just, unhinged, whatever I want to say, and then I will intentionally delete that as I'm editing the film. And as I'm deleting, I just sort of kind of sit with it and then let it go. And that helps me release some of the old patterns. I'm still a bit sloppy with it, but it's been a very interesting transition into making things simpler in my life, not having to explain myself. This has been a whole new life for me, quite literally from the ground up. And it almost feels like centuries, just so much time, incredible time, maybe longer, that I have not updated these internal programs, going as far back as my ancestry. Sometimes I feel like my ancestors send me messages, and I'm beginning to be aware of that. So that's something that I really wanted to share on YouTube, because I've heard a lot of people say that kind of energy and those types of things are present right now in a lot of people, but I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about it. And because I've been demanded to explain myself, I'm probably more open than most people, and I don't mind sharing those things. So if you would like to share, please do so in the comments. I will see you next time.